Alright, so this video is a collection of all the most missed questions from yesterday's problem set. So I just merged them all together so you'd have it all in one spot, watch one video, and get a quick overview of everything. So the first problem says graph the circle which is centered at 2, 0. So that's an x value of 2 and a y value of 0, so we'll put a dot there, with a radius of 2.5. Now, scale is the most common mistake on this one, so I'm going to go up 2 units and 0.5. Every mark on this graph is worth a half unit based on the way it's labeled. So I'm going to go ahead and plot those points. And once I have those graphed, I'll do my best attempt at a circle. Again, Khan Academy's tools are going to do a much better job than that. So that's a picture of the first circle we needed to do. And that's kind of a nice overview of how to graph circles from its features being given. So if I jump to the next most missed problem, this is a two-parter. So this one, it says, what is the center of the circle? So I'm going to look for a clear diameter on this circle. And it looks like we have it right there. And I'm going to look for the middle of that diameter. So it looks like I'm up 2.5. X value is 0 because I don't move right or left at all. Up 2.5, that would leave me with a correct answer of D. Alright, now if I go to the next question, it says the circle passes through the point negative 1.5, 2.5. Alright, now in reality on this one, I could just count over to the side because it did line up perfectly. And if I count that over, it's 1.5, which is D. Now, in some cases, it's not going to line up as nicely, and we're going to have to lean on our old friend, the distance formula. All right, distance formula is x2 minus x1 quantity squared plus y2 minus y1 quantity squared. So I'm going to be using this point over here and this point down here. So I've got 0 minus negative 1.5. And then over on the other piece, I have 2.5 minus 2.5. If I clean that up a little bit, I get 1.5 quantity squared inside the square root. Those square root and the square will cancel out, and I'll be at 1.5. So again, distance formula is a great tool. It works every time. If we do happen to line up nicely like we did on this one, then we can get by with just counting over for our radius. Alright, moving on to the next most missed question was this one, and this was shifting to looking for the features of a circle from its standard form. So we have to remember the standard form is x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals the radius. Alright, and if we take a second and look at this, this is actually, and I'm sorry, radius squared. This is actually very close to our distance formula. If I took the square root of both sides, I would have the change in the x's, so x minus the x coordinate of the center quantity squared, plus I'd have the y minus the y coordinate of the center squared, all under a square root. That would be the distance between x, y, alright, our one point on the curve, and hk, the point on the circle. Alright, and the definition of a circle is something that is uniform distance from the center to every single point on. So this would equal uniform distance r. Now, in the standard form, they square both sides, which gives us this structure right here. So really, it's just a matching game at this point. We have x plus 7 in this first spot. That means that the h value would need to be a negative 7 to match up. Alright, so I've got an x coordinate of negative 7. In the equation they gave us, they had a y plus 8 right there. So that means that the k value would have had to have been a negative 8 to make that a plus sign. So I've got negative 8 for the other coordinate of the center. Then it asks us for the radius. So radius, they have 4/9 in this spot. So I have r squared equals 4/9. That means when I take the square root of both sides, square root of 4 is 2, square root of 9 is 3, so I've got 2/3. Alright, those would be our appropriate answers for that question. And let's take a look at one more very similar to that. So again, I'm going to carry down that structure, x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared. Alright, in our problem we have x squared plus y plus 4 squared equals 64. Alright, so looking at this first piece, the only way I can make that happen is with a minus 0. Alright, because x is equivalent to x minus 0, so that means my h value is 0. All right, if I go to the next piece where the k is, I have a negative 4. Because if I do y minus k, y minus negative 4, that's a y plus 4. All right, so that's my hk, the center. So I've got 0, negative 4 for my center. All right, then it asks me for the radius. So this is our r squared. So we're looking r squared equals 64. Square root of both sides, r equals 8. So our radius on this problem would be 8. Now, that's a quick summary of several problems that were the kind of most missed questions from the 3 problem sets from last night. I hope that takes care of all your questions. If you have any others, don't hesitate to email me. Thank you.